the relationships we have with dogs. That's our Techstination. I'm Fred Fishkin. Joining us is science journalist Jennifer Holland, author of a new book, Dog Smart: Life-Changing Lessons in Canine Intelligence. Hi, Jennifer.
Hi, thanks for having me on.
A real pleasure. You are also the author of the bestseller Unlikely Friendships, wonderful stories about surprising bonds in the animal kingdom. There's really been a series of books, I think, from that.
Yeah.
This new book, Dog Smart, is beautifully done. Some of what is here won't surprise many dog lovers, but some things will. So tell us first about your motivation. Partly, I suppose, Getty and Monk.
Getty and Monk, yeah, I have two not terribly well-behaved dogs, I have to admit, but they're definitely my muses. But for the book, I really was able to get out and meet many, many dogs, dozens and dozens of dogs. And my intention was really to consider dog intelligence, but kind of more from the dog's perspective in a way. And what does it mean to be intelligent outside of the human realm and in a dog's world using the natural tools of the dog? And so I went to working dogs because they are the animals that have had the most opportunities to be intelligent, to use all of their natural skills, and just had a great time getting to know the emotional support dogs, the sniffer dogs, the seeing eye dogs, all the different animals out there that we've managed to bring out the best in, and it was remarkable.
Well, you really can help change our perception here, too, I think, of what is a dog's intelligence, the criteria that we use to say, hey, that dog is smart.
Yes,
We need
exactly.
to rethink some of that, don't we?
I think so. I mean, certainly there's intelligence in dogs that can respond to our commands and do all the things that, dogs normally do in our households. But if they don't respond to our commands, it doesn't necessarily mean they're dumb. And we need to think outside of the human way of thinking and think, well, what is, a dog's way of seeing the world is really through the nose, for example. And so why not sort of give them more credit for that olfactory intelligence that they use in so many remarkable ways.
Well, tell me about some of those experiences that you referred to, the dogs that you met in doing the research here.
Yeah, sure. Despite the fact that it was the pandemic, I was able to do quite a bit of field work, which was really a testament to the trainers and handlers and all the people that hosted me and that let me come meet them and spend time with their dogs. But most of the really interesting ones included the seeing eye dogs. I went to the seeing eye in New Jersey and spent time with the trainers and went out with them in New York to watch how they train these dogs to navigate a city street. And they're incredibly intuitive about it and also enjoy it. You really see in working dogs just how much they love to put their natural abilities to work, and to see the bond between some of the people that have these dogs and their animals, and just how they have this kind of silent communication between them it's really beautiful. Also, a lot of the sniffer dogs, I went out with folks doing conservation work where the dogs are actually able to track through the scat, the poop of whatever species they're looking for, and help them, define areas where animals are living. Even a dog that smells whale poop as it floats on the surface of the ocean and helps sort of direct where the poop is floating so that they can get samples and test it and find out what's going on with the whales. So just those are just a couple of the many, many kinds of dogs that I spent time with.
It's really amazing. And one of the things that you did with the seeing eye dog, you actually walked in Manhattan being led with your eyes closed
I did.
by
I did. Yeah, really intense. And they move very fast. This was not a tentative little stroll down the street. And there was just people and potholes and everything. And we just, zoomed right down that street and all went well. And it was incredible. And that particular dog actually shows up again at the end of the book. So we get a little bit of a little closure on how things go with that dog that was a trainee when I met her.
these dogs and others. And you give readers some insight into things like agility training and the training of these working dogs, what they have to go through, serious stuff very often,
Yeah.
and what that means to the relationship. a lot of people might think that these poor dogs, they're so disciplined, they don't have fun, they're not a regular dog. But you're saying here that the relationship can be a lot better than what that perception is.
I think so. And a trainer named Ian Dunbar out in the UK said to me, we owe it to our dogs to tell them what we expect of them. We owe it to them to train them so that we're not frustrated with them, yelling at them, misunderstanding them. And so I think the training is an important part of it, but also very important is letting dogs be dogs and giving back some of that just dog uninterrupted, whether it's sniffing or rolling or just running full on across a beach if you have that opportunity. And so I think this give and take, sort of letting them do what they naturally want to do, and then also being able to apply those skills to things that we need is a great kind of pairing.
That's interesting because we're often, I guess, mystified, sometimes horrified at a dog's behavior.
Yes,
And they're probably mystified by some of our behavior too, to be fair.
exactly.
But you do talk about letting dogs be dogs and the difference between instinct and intelligence.
Yes, and I think in a way, just doing the book has changed a little bit of how I deal with my dogs. I'm a bit more patient. I try to give them choices. I try to let them sniff longer, even if I'm in a hurry. I'm less apt to just kind of yank them along on a walk, and just remembering what it is that's important to them for their species, regardless of my being there. And just letting them have that because it's good for their morale, it's good for their brains, it's good for them in all ways. So it's really important.
What are your thoughts about the way many of us have treated our dogs? I mean, they are family members, but we tend to impose thoughts. Oh, he's thinking this or that, and that's why he's behaving this way.
Yeah.
Uh,
Yeah.
is there validity to any of that, or are we just fooling ourselves?
Yeah, I mean, it's human nature to probably try to answer that question all the time. And I think some people are better at it than others. I think learning, I talk in the book a lot about learning kind of the language of the dog and really trying to understand a little bit more about what their body language is telling us and what their vocalizations are saying. And not to make assumptions that they're just like us because they really come from a different place and they're seeing the world in a different way. Appreciating that we do things in a primate way. So just petting a dog and running up and hugging a dog, things like that, that's not sort of natural for a canine. They tolerate it, which says a lot about them, most of the time, I should say. But the fact that they have kind of allowed us to fit them into our niche, but also what a great benefit to them to fit into our niche too. And so I think that's an important part of it is to keep that in mind.
And they have individual personalities too.
Absolutely, absolutely. And breed matters, but it's not everything by any means. There's a lot of individuality within a breed, and just because you have a German Shepherd doesn't mean it's going to be a great police protector dog. You're going to get all sorts.
Can intelligence be taught?
I think it can certainly be grown, especially when we're thinking about these kind of natural intelligences. So something like social intelligence in a dog, if you give them more opportunities to socialize, then that's going to expand what they're able to do. And just like with a person, if you give them practice, they're going to do better. Something like olfaction, they all have that capability, and it's a matter of letting them use it and really letting them train themselves, I think, to use it in a very natural way.
I suppose we're all fascinated by the behaviors sometimes, and I mean, look at YouTube or TikTok or whatever you want, or even a TV show, America's Got Talent or something like that. Dogs become the stars.
Absolutely. We have such an incredible bond with them. There's such a long history there. And really I think more than any other animal, it's not that dogs are smarter per se. It's just that this very special relationship that has come about over time that in many ways dogs may have initiated. I think makes it just a little bit different, and we've shaped each other. We've certainly shaped dogs in many ways, but even genetically and even just physiologically, the way the dog's face, the little muscles in the eyebrow that let them do kind of that puppy dog look, things like that, they can trace over the course of domestication. They see changes in some of those, which reflect our, relationship with the animals and how we feel about them.
Just terrific. So are there a couple of things that you want people to really take away from this and learn from reading the book?
We love our dogs. I don't think it's realistic to think we're going to be partners as opposed to owners, which I've heard some people say. We're always going to be in charge. And so that puts us in a position of, being responsible and making good choices for the animals so that they have the very best life. And that includes appreciating their ways and appreciating their communication system and getting to know it as well as possible, rather than just expecting them to always respond to us and do as we tell them to do.
Very interesting. The title again, Dog Smart, Life-Changing Lessons in Canine Intelligence from National Geographic. Jennifer Holland, thank you for your work and for spending time with us.
Thank you so much.